Well, it's been a year since Valve's newest game. How is it going so far? Ugh, this isn't looking good. Counter-Strike 2 released to mixed reception at best, and very disappointing reception at worst. But hey, these are just growing pains. I'm sure once the issues I have, and many other people have with this game are fixed, it will be a competent successor to what we had before. Okay, they haven't. Let's discuss this game. Since I still have some critical issues with this game, I want to make a more updated video on this game and what I think of it. Because, oh boy, I have a lot of things to say that are both negative and positive. And honestly, it's a lot of negative, which is very unfortunate. But hey, being negative is my second favorite pastime, the first being with some very immature activities. Also, before I start this video, I am a pure casual player. If you somehow think me not being able to aim and have above average game sense voids my opinion, first off, get the fuck out of here, and second off, this video is not for you. Anyway, let's talk about some Counter-Strike now. Alright, as opposed to my first video on CS2, the stuff I like is more of the same as last time. Firstly, this game is beautiful as hell. Oh my god. A comparison to Global Offensive makes my point stand. I mean, I don't think Global Offensive looks bad or anything, but CS2 really outshines it in the technical aspect. But there is a massive asterisk to that point I made above. Some of the maps in this game have been using assets as far back as 2004, which is pretty jarring, and the map Office is the biggest example of it. This map not only hardly changed from CSGO to CS2, but hardly changed from Source to Go. Hell, I'm pretty sure this map still uses Half-Life 2 textures in certain areas. It's crazy how much they're getting away with using older stuff here, although the maps that were fully remade look beautiful. Inferno, Italy, and Overpass got a massive facelift, which makes them look better to me. I have pretty much no complaints about the new visuals, although could we get a slight reduction on brightness for all maps to make it more look like Global Offensive? I'm not asking for a graphical downgrade, but this game looks so bright that I must be a weirdo and wear prescribed sunglasses indoors. No, I do not ride an electric bike, but also I think the smokes are far better than Global Offensive this time around. The ability to carve patterns and holes within them is a pretty good way of preventing one-way smokes, which were a pretty big problem in Global Offensive. That new buy menu they added is so much better. Not only does it look nicer, but it functions better. Refunding your weapons is a great feature to add. The number of times I've bought weapon by accident Global Offensive is so sad that my reaction would always look like a very cringe and fake YouTube thumbnail. Oh, and with some newer updates, they've added the ability to not only see the minimum amount of money you would get next round, but also see the weapons dropped in the buy zone and pick them up with the push of a button. Those are honestly great changes that are welcome, and if anything deserves the most respect and credit from this quote-unquote game, it's the new smokes in the buy menu. As well as for other improvements to this game, the Source 2 engine does allow for more capability and has a much better toolset from what I've heard. If you have used some of the Source 1 engine toolset, you would know how ancient it could be. The Hammer Editor is the greatest example of the improved toolchain, but I haven't really messed around with it. Maybe I'll mess around with it in the future, I don't know. Also, this game has actively been trying to make Counter-Strike more beginner-friendly by adding more accessibility options. For example, the On the Other Hand update added the ability to have a utility lineup crosshair, which is a great addition if you're newer. Getting into Counter-Strike is easy, but it is obtuse, so adding the ability to have util lineup crosshairs and follow recoil options are an awesome addition to Counter-Strike. Oh, and we can't forget Premiere Mode. While it has problems, it's overall decent outside of that cheater problem. Although it's not perfect, and this is where I transition to the next part of the video where I sit around a campfire and talk like an 80-year-old man telling children about how good we had it in Global Offensive. Firstly, let's talk about subtick. This might be a very odd and steamy take to a lot of people, but when subtick works, it feels slightly better than Global Offensive unofficial matchmaking to me. But when it doesn't, it feels like getting hit with a baseball bat around a corner in real life. It's demoralizing to know the reason why you died is because the netcode hates you, and while it's usually fine for me, it occasionally happens to me, and it is really annoying when it does. Updates have been slowly coming out, making it better over time, but it is far from perfect. Also, where's the content we used to have? Did Valve really think they could pull an Overwatch 2 here? Because I don't see anything to do in this game other than Premier, Wingman, Casual, and Arms Race. What happened to modes like Flying Scoutsman, Danger Zone, or Demolition? I fucking love Flying Scoutsman in CSGO, yet it's absent here? I get that Bomb Defuse and Hostage modes are the most played, but sometimes I just want to play a goofy game of Flying Scoutsman and troll in a wannabe Call of Duty gun game. And while we're at it, where are the maps at? I get that we don't have community maps like Agency or Cache, those aren't made by Valve, but we still have a decent amount of developer content that is not here. What happened to maps like Cobblestone or Canals? Also, they even showed off Train in launch promotional material, and it's still not here. Also, Lunacy Man Beloved isn't on this game, and that makes me really sad. Hell, Valve even bought Tuscan and Anubis at the end of CSGO's lifespan. One of them made it in, and the other one didn't. If you bought both maps, why wouldn't you want both of them in the game at release because you just bought them? It just doesn't make sense to me. Oh, and we can't forget that Valve removed map-based factions this time. This is a very sad removal to me, and it makes Counter-Strike feel more corporate and duller, which is also something that Concord is known for, but regardless, the map-based factions added flair to maps for me. And they should be added back or I'm going to have a massive fit and complain until they do. Also, let's talk about the cheating problem. Remember when I said in this video how bad VAC was for TF2? Well, now let's talk about it for Counter-Strike 2. The cheater problem, while has gone better, it's still a nightmare outside of casual and arms race. Although, I am Heartstuck Silver, so I'm basically immune to it. However, it is a massive problem, and I should probably mention it and give it some attention here. They have mentioned that VACnet 3 is in initial testing, but if VACnet 2 literally bans you for getting a kill and spinning around when I have 17 vitamins gummies instead of the usual 2, then I don't see why I should be very confident in this new anti-cheat technology. It's not a kernel level anti-cheat, but that's where the positivity ends for VAC. Also, here's another nitpick. What's the point of competitive mode when Premier exists? Like, normal competitive ranking doesn't even matter because you can't even show it off to anywhere in my knowledge. Could we maybe like have a toggle switch between the two ranked modes on someone's panel? I mean, competitive mode has a different ranking system because it's an individual map rank, but I think it could be solved by letting players choose what map they want to show up on their profile. For example, if you like Dust 2 and have a high ranking, that could be the map you show up on your profile. Here's another nitpick. Why do ragdolls not drop as fast as they should? In CSGO, getting a kill felt like a sexual orgasm, but in CS2, the ragdoll drop to the ground is slower than my brain computing math. It doesn't really feel that good compared to Global Offensive. Some people in the comments might say it's an engine issue, but I don't think the ragdoll speed is tied to the game engine. Other than that, I think that's all the stuff I still do not like. You might notice that there's more issues I have with this game than I did before, and that's simply because I spent more time thinking. And I feel like I should give more attention to the issues that I did not mention in my first video. But anyway, let's talk about the disappointing post-launch updates now. Okay, it's been a year since launch. Surely these updates have added some cool new things, right? Oh, the first update was just adding some CSGO content, a loot box, better sticker customization, and this XP overload feature. That's kinda lame, honestly. It feels like this content was supposed to be scheduled for the release, and it needed like 3 more weeks of polish. I mean, this update was decent. It added better sticker customization, a reworked Zeus, and XP overload to show how much of life you do not have, and a new case. It's just that most of this content is stuff we already had in CSGO. However, as far as this first year goes, this is probably the biggest update we've had, and that's extremely concerning. The other 3 updates we've gotten around the game's 1-year window are pretty much a nothing burger. First off, the On the Other Hand update is more mediocre than masturbating. The best addition in this update is this grenade crosser that I do use a lot, but other than that, there's nothing else in this update. I mean, sure, they added the Overwatch system, but I believe they just put that in the patch notes to shut everyone up about the anti-cheat for like a month or 2. The updates after that were mediocre as well. The Fire Sale update was cool, I guess. MVP update, mediocre. These updates aren't really that important. They don't really fix the problems we've had since launch. Hell, it took almost an entire year to fix boosting. You know, something that's used a lot and people would complain about till they fixed. Valve obviously seems like they're stretching themselves way too thin to do post-launch support here, and that is really bad when you have to dig yourself out of a hole from a terrible situation. Need I remind you that this is very similar to what happened to the war-themed hat simulator. Also, another substantial update came out recently as of writing. The Armory update, in my opinion, is pretty underwhelming. I mean, they fixed legs, which you also could call a bad thing because this hilarious bug does not exist, but just because it's funny does not mean it should stay. But other than the legs, this update is a glorified cosmetic drop. Also, since we have these new awesome Source 2 tools, can we get a server browser in-game? It's worse to just have the server browser pop up than not to have it at all. Hell, it could look like it's from 2002 for all I care. If it just pops up in the game, then I don't have a problem at this point. Although, I'll give them a little more credit by making it take one less click to find the server browser. I just don't get why they're not taking this game more seriously internally. This game makes some buckets of money, and it should get better treatment than it deserves right now. I don't understand how a game like Dota 2 can get more active support than Counter-Strike. I mean, you could just say less people work on CS2, but does that really excuse all of it? I think we would have all been happier without CS2 till it was ready. It was a massive mistake releasing this game at the time they did, and they really should have held off. The treatment Global Offensive got in the end is extremely insulting. It got sent to the indefinite timeout corner in the form of a beta branch that is extremely inaccessible, all because they wanted to avoid the past transition that was CS 1.6 to CS Source, which failed pretty badly. Them also rebranding CSGO into something that is the same game on the Source 2 engine with less content is also extremely sad. It's like Valve saying, hey, you like this game? Well, too bad. Here's something that's way worse in every way other than like 5 areas. And the worst part is that they expect you to be happy with it. I feel very bad for people who literally cannot play their favorite game anymore, all because Valve did not want to split the player base between 2 games. If CSGO is just re-uploaded to the Steam store or when you got it if you bought CS2 Prime, then I wouldn't be complaining at all. If you could play community servers, and if you don't have to go through a bunch of barriers to play this decade-old game, then I think that would be okay. But apparently, that's not good enough for them, so they just chucked Global Offensive into the bin, and now the only reason why you'd have CSGO install is to play old workshop maps and if you really want to play against bots. If 1.6 in Source can live on the Steam store page and be as playable as it was when they released, why can't the most beloved one live alongside them? I just don't get it. In the end, I think CS2 will surpass CSGO eventually, but it's hard to be optimistic when I feel like this is the end of the line. See what I did there? The leaks in the files do seem promising, but I'm not fully convinced. If you're a CS player, I guess you now know what it feels like to be a TF2 player, and now you get to pray to God that you wished you were a Dota fan because they sort of know what it feels like to be loved by Valve. Although, now that I'm making this video, they're going to fix everything within a week because they love to troll me and make my videos age like milk. So, about what I just said, they updated the game again, fixing some issues I had. I'm not going to list all the things that Valve did, but I'll say the most important things they've done. First up, they added back Train with an entire overhaul, which in my playtime of the map so far, seems like they did a great job with this rework. That was the most important thing they added, because other than that, all they did was make some network improvements and add some community maps. Good update, but they really need to pick up the pace with content. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more videos on Counter-Strike or any other Source engine game for that matter. If you by chance want to talk to me, join my Discord server or tune to my streams every Sunday or so, if you are interested. Anyway, I gotta go play some Counter-Strike because my Armory pass isn't gonna complete itself. But have a good day, and I'll see you guys when I talk about Deadlock.
Bye-bye!
Throwing flashbang!